All right, everyone, welcome back to the Sooner Surge YouTube for another weekly live stream talking all things Oklahoma Sooners. If you guys want, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and drop them in the comment section. We'll get to all of them. Already see we got Topher in here, says Boomer. And then we got Brian here talking about the FSU Tennessee game. So, we can go ahead and get to that. What were our thoughts on the Florida State and Tennessee game today?
Well, Kiki Malloy, guys, she did not show up for Tennessee in the biggest game of the year when they needed her most. And as we talked about on the softball pod earlier, is that the biggest big time players make the biggest big time plays. And Kiki Malloy, she did not play well for Tennessee, and Tennessee had no offense the whole game outside of their home run. And what was that like? The second or third inning was when they blasted that solo shot. But really, Florida State's pitching staff did a great job against Tennessee. They were the third-ranked offense in the country, I believe, coming in. So, guys, OU Florida State, you got a lot to look forward to with Sandercock versus offense, man. We've seen Nyjah Kennedy. And we also saw, is her name River?
No, Vaughter.
Vaughter. Okay.
Alana Vaughter. But hey,
yes, Alana Vaughter.
The thing is, Florida State. What we saw from Florida State Tennessee game. What I saw is what I think most people thought is the two best teams are playing on Wednesday now, and that's OU and Florida State. I think they've been on a collision course for a while to face off in the World Series. You talk about Florida State. You know, you can talk about Tennessee and how they have bats, but what Florida State has is they have some bats and pitching. Pretty good pitching, actually. So I think you got the two best teams coming out Wednesday. So we'll see.
If you go back to the game in March, I think it was March or so, 5-4, whatever it was. Storako pitched that one, allowed 4 runs. But Jordy Ball pitched 3 innings, struck out 6 in that game. Actually, the Florida State staff only struck OU out once in that entire game, 1 strikeout. I don't look for OU to struggle against their pitching, honestly. I don't want to sound like, it's a big deal. That's a bold statement. I don't think it is after seeing Kennedy. I think they're going to get all over these Florida State pitchers. And as Brian says, our pitching is much better than Tennessee pitching for sure. The way Jordy Ball is going right now, guys, her and Kennedy on a different level, period.
Hey,
and so much talk about Kennedy, but what about Ball? Come on.
Yeah. Topher talking about the FSU series upcoming. He says Kinzie Hansen will be an X factor on offense and defense against Florida State.
She's one of the biggest X factors, but to me, the girl I'm looking at was the girl who debatably had the biggest play today, and that's Grace Lyons, guys. She finally got her hit. Can we see that Grace Lyons senior breakthrough moment where she just tears it up in the World Series against Florida State? She had been struggling all World Series. So like I said, she got that hit. She needed to get some confidence back, get the bats rolling, especially lower in that order with like Lyons and
Boone.
Riley Boone. She always has her bat rolling, but it's like an area with like sometimes it's Sydney Sanders, Torres, Lyons. If those three can both just keep OU rolling offensively.
And Topher's got a great point on Kinzie Hansen, though, because in today's game, there was a point where 2 runners are on base. One of them was on third, I believe. And Hansen twice on really kind of inside pitches, she made great grabs. And those just go overlooked. Her and Grace Lyons' defensive – and Kinzie Hansen's been on fire at the plate too, guys. Maybe only getting singles or something. She's been on fire, hitting the ball going opposite field. So I agree with Topher.
Kinzie Hansen is one of the best in all of college softball about framing a pitch. I mean, she does a great job at framing pitches. It's unreal. Yeah. Hey, did y'all watch the Tennessee game? What about the illegal pitches that Florida State pitched 3 in 1 inning?
Yeah.
Wild. Jordan does the same exact thing when she.
Yeah, I'm surprised they were calling it, but
we got CJ Bunker in the comments saying, I thought Tennessee would put up a fight, but bats were cold. I'm not worried about Florida State pitching at all. Sooners in 2 straight.
I agree with that. I think it's going to be 2 straight, and I'm not worried about the bats either. And big shout out to CJ Bunker. CJ's been commenting a lot on our softball pods. We really appreciate it, CJ. But I agree with you, 2 straight. And the magic number will be 53. That is crazy, guys. 53 straight.
We got Brian saying after seeing Kennedy, Florida State pitching will be like when we saw.
Hey, great point, Brian, because
Yeah.
we were talking earlier about that, how Kennedy's on a different level right now. And you go from her to some of these other pitchers that are still really good pitchers, but Kennedy was just so on fire and so hot of a pitcher that I think it will be a little bit easier for OU. And also Kennedy, we saw today, her velocity dropped from like 75, 76 to like 70 or 71. And that makes all the difference in the world when you're facing a pitcher and it drops 3 or 4 miles an hour. And I think
Sandercock throws about 67.
Yeah, about 70 would be highest probably.
67 to 70.
Kennedy's going to be insane when she's in Norman next year.
No, she's not coming in.
Her and
Write the check.
Her
She's
and
not
Maya
transferring.
and Kiki Malloy, dude. Oh my gosh.
Write the check.
Malloy with his sister, that's a possibility.
Hey, Maya Brady, I think that's an interesting situation up there. I would not be sure.
Isn't Malloy's sister 2025 though?
No,
I think so. Oh, she
2024, I think. I think she's
okay.
But yeah.
Hey, what did y'all think about the intentional walk to Jada Coleman to face Tiare Jennings?
Dumb. I think it was dumb.
I can see why they did it. I mean,
I understand the analytics.
She
Hey,
was
here's the
0 for 5
question.
leading up to that.
Here's the question I have though. Do you think the coach made that decision, or do you think Kennedy made that call?
Kennedy.
I think it was probably Kennedy said, "I'd rather."
She probably walked out there and asked her.
That's what I think. Jackson.
I mentioned this earlier, and I'm going to say it again. Something that was massive in that whole deal. Having a runner on third base, it's 0-2 count. Kennedy had no business throwing that pitch where she threw it, where Jennings hit that ball. I know she probably wanted to throw a high riser, but a pass ball or a wild pitch scores the run. Yeah. Having someone on third was a massive difference in that situation.
Yeah. We got Kennedy has a bro that's a D line.
I did see that, yeah.
Multiple times. And she's from Topeka, Kansas, which is much closer to Norman than Stanford.
Can you imagine the absolute Twitterverse if she transferred to OU, how mad they'd be? Oh, my gosh. They'd be so mad.
Her and Jordy Ball and Kirsten Deal.
Speaking of the –
May's back.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well,
May's only a junior.
He can transfer. I'm kidding.
Speaking of this dude just had one of the best pitchers in the nation transfer. Speaking of the intentional walk situation, Brian thought it was dumb. He says it was the coach, and she said it in her press conference.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So you wonder so it makes it sound like maybe Kennedy really wanted Jada then.
Or they just went with I mean, they probably played the analytics. She was 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. But, man, Tiare Jennings is clutch, and she's been hot. Coleman, too, has been hot. So either one really is going to be a tough matchup.
Kennedy's had some – like the way she talked in her press conference was a bit interesting to me. It kind of almost seemed like she was, like, speaking to coaches when she's in the portal. But, yeah, the pitching it's loaded already, like next year. So it'll be crazy.
Yeah.
And just like it's like whenever you are able – I know that Kirsten Deal, I don't think she met the threshold to be nationally recognized for her ERA, but I think it was 20 appearances. Her ERA was like, Jeremy, you can maybe help me, like 0.75. Is that right? 0.75 for Deal this year, I think, is her ERA in 20 appearances. That's a true freshman. I don't care who you are. True freshman with the ERA like that is insane. And her compared to Kennedy. Kennedy's was like 0.48.
Well, that's what kills me about everyone else that talks about teams like Florida State or the fact that Stanford, Stanford had 2 good pitchers. Number 2, number 5, number 8 going into this World Series was OU's 3.
OU had 4 aces.
Yeah. I mean, and Ball was 5, and she's nowhere near 5 now. She's top dog, but
she outpitched Kennedy twice.
By the way, Deal's ERA was 0.77, so still for a true freshman, that's absolutely insane.
And I like that she's a lefty.
The thing about Ball right now is Ball, her pitches are so under control right now. That was what when she would struggle, her control. But right now she's hitting her spots. She's got the off speed working. She's just on fire.
Yeah, CJ Bunker in the comments says, yeah, coach did say it in press conference. It was her choice based on Jennings being 0 for 4. But listen, you pick your poison with our lineup, and you can bet that TJ took it to heart when they walked her. So,
For sure.
yeah, it's crazy.
And Jeremy,
I have a lot like what the Tennessee coach said. I mean, she was like, it's my fault, but I got to do based upon matches.
Hey, and it was clear when Jada Coleman slammed her bat down like she just hit a bomb, a grand slam to win the game, when really all she did was get intentionally walked. That was proof. The proof is right there. She knew it was a mistake. The whole team knew what Tiare was going to do. That is how
I knew what TRA was going to do, dude.
It was due.
That's how in sync this team is, though.
yeah,
The whole talk about the getting excited and how it's just too much is ridiculous because they are in this for each other. The culture is unfreaking believable at this team, and it's why the Haley Lees of the world, the Sydney Sanders of the world, yeah, they want to go win a championship, the Alex Tarakos, but how can you not want to be in this culture when everyone wants you to succeed? There's not tearing anyone down. Man,
hey,
like I've said before, if you could just get a little bit of this and inject it in every other program, you could sell this thing for millions.
Hey, another thing that people don't really talk about is when you play against a team like OU who's that dominant and that good, it makes you do things differently. And it makes you try to second guess yourself and try to play the analytics because they're so good, right? And that's what it does.
Hey, didn't Tiare bat after Allo last year?
Jeremy, check the comments. Have a feeling.
Hey,
We know who
You
that
know
is.
Yes, we know who this is.
Hunter.
Exactly.
Hey, I did not hate slamming the bat, actually. I like it. And in fact, I don't know why y'all think that I don't like the energy. I just said that a lot of people on Twitter were bashing it.
I know for a fact that you don't like the chants in softball, which I like them at points, but sometimes it can be frustrating.
That's part of the game, though. That's part of the game. That's kind of what makes it softball.
Hey, didn't Tiare bat after Allo last year? Or was she before?
What's
Who?
that?
No,
Didn't-
TRA was third last year.
All
Yeah.
about it too.
Yeah, all about it too.
What I'm saying is I'm getting at is Tiare a lot of times last year faced a pitcher right after an intentional walk to Allo. So yeah.
Yeah, Brian confirms she batted after.
Yeah,
He
so
also
I
says
think that
Tennessee
he's used to that.
start their
Oh,
ace by going.
Speaking of an unsung hero that I don't know, you guys probably don't even think of this name ever, but it's Avery Hodge with her ability with her base running, guys. There's every single time OU needs to put someone on base to run, they put in Avery Hodge in the game, and she always finds a way to get home. That's an unsung thing. It's those
Hey, and what
things that don't.
Hunter was getting at, what Hunter was getting at, and I think what Jay has alluded to before is sometimes that emotion, it comes across as like, some maybe they don't care as much, if they're down 8 and they're sitting there like chanting and stuff, but it is like you said, it's part of the game. It's if you go to Little League, you do that all the way up. It's just kind of part of the game. And for me, if anything, it just kind of shows the purity of softball versus other collegiate sports, honestly.
Hey, this thing from CJ here is dead on because Jordy has outpitched Kennedy twice, and all you hear about is Kennedy.
But
The camera's all over Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
Hey, but the counter to that is that it's more impressive for Kennedy to be holding OU's offense down like this than it is for Jordy Ball to be shutting out Stanford. Because Stanford,
That's true. That's true.
Too.
Still, you got to recognize
Yes.
Ball.
I think it's because
Jordy Ball
ESPN had to find some other story besides OU to kind of, because everyone knows about OU, but it is ridiculous that the amount of now the Stanford coach is getting more airtime than Michael Phelps's mom. Okay, that's ridiculous. How about we show Patty freaking Gasso? Seriously, that Stanford coach is all over the place. Get her off there.
She's off there. They're done. They're out of there.
They're done.
They're gonna find a way to still show her when the National World Series or the National Championship.
Yeah,
start.
hey Brody, they might have a thing of like a 2.5 hour live feed of the plane flight back. Just on
Hey, while we're talking about coaches, though, I got to talk about the Tennessee coach for a second. She plays OU. She does not throw her ace. Elimination game again today. Florida State doesn't start her ace. I don't get it.
What is she doing?
What is she waiting on? You got to win.
I promise you she's fired. I guarantee you she doesn't make it through.
She won't be fired. She won't be fired.
All right,
Fired.
Hey, we got some comments to get to.
Hey,
here.
is that Boo Weekly's sister? The
Who?
golfer? Karen Weekly.
I don't know. Does Boo
I
Weekly
think
golf?
I think she's related to Boo Weekly. She does things like he does. He's off his rocker sometimes in the golf world.
100%, guys. ESPN not big fans of OU. Now the announcers were for our game today. We're super.
I have never been the biggest fan of Beth Mowins and them.
No, we didn't have Beth Mowins.
We didn't have Beth Mowins today. I like Beth
listen.
Mowins.
Beth Mowins. I remember.
No,
the OU Playbook
not
game.
Beth Mowins. What is her name? Not Beth Mowins. Help me.
I knew Beth
Amanda
Mowins.
Scarborough.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
the A team is Mendoza, Smith, and Mowins.
And
That's
they're
who it
great.
was.
They're great.
It doesn't get them.
Mowins is good in softball. She's not in football.
Hey, those three, Michelle Smith,
Jessica Mendoza.
And Beth Mowins, those three are by far the best. And they should have been doing the OU game. Why can't they do 2 games?
We'll get them. They'll do all the games now, bud.
Yeah, that's true.
Daniel says, I feel the same way about Sandercock. They just talk about how great she is the entire game. These commenters just think Florida State is the most amazing team in the world. That is very true.
Yeah, but you also have to think about it. OU gets a lot of praise too. So I don't know why.
Right, but hey, not like
OU.
OU destroyed Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee couldn't hit anything, and they acted like Sandercock just threw a no-no, and she's Nolan freaking Ryan.
And she was struggling tonight.
She had runners all over the place.
Sandercock is a lot like Jordy Ball with the way they kind of approach the game. I don't know if you guys have watched her pitch much, but she walks around the mound, does her own thing, talks to the batters. But the thing is, she's not Jordy Ball, and OU's going to crank.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think she has the. She doesn't look to me like she has the fire that Kennedy had.
No, she reminds me of some actress. I cannot pinpoint, but I'm going to pinpoint it by the weekend's over, and I'm going to show you.
Jeremy, should you show this?
Hey, Florida State's a really good team. They are, and everybody knew they'd probably be in this situation.
Well, ESPN.
They've been there before. That's the other thing. They've been there before. Okay?
They have a lot of players that have played in the World Series. Still,
it's going to be a great series. Except I think OU's going to run rule one of the 2 games.
He says Brown or whatever his name is when he was talking about the announcers for today being annoying. CJ.
Yeah, it was Brown and Scarborough.
Yeah. CJ says Mendoza is great. The others are suspect. And Braden likes Jessica Mendoza.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mendoza.
Right.
When you can call MLB and softball, I mean, she's good. She calls Sunday night Sunday night baseball. She's a really good broadcaster.
Excited for Wednesday night, guys. It's going to be awesome. OU's going to get their third straight and cement their place as the best team in history.
Speaking of being excited for something that's upcoming, is official visits start June 9th. Brody, we'll turn it over to you. Michael Hawkins is expected to be there June 9th to hopefully recruit his peers like Williams Nwaneri. I don't know if you could speak on that. Brody, maybe just go into more detail on some top targets for OU that weekend and some guys who could potentially be in future centers.
Speak on what?
The June 9th official visitors.
Yeah, June 9th is that one's going to be very interesting because Nwaneri confirmed his visit on June 9th. And then after that, OU, David Stone already locked in on the Champion Barbecue. And then they wanted him to come the weekend before. So he'll be there back-to-back. One will be unofficial, which is the 9th. So they really put you mentioned Hawkins. They put Stone on there to help recruit Nwaneri to Norman. But there's going to be a lot of
I was going to say, which is very interesting.
It is. But there's going to be a lot. I mean, there's a lot we can talk about with it as we approach the 9th and then even the the Champion Barbecue after that. A lot of top targets in town. Kobe Black will also be in town the 9th for an OV. There's going to be a lot of, guys that OU really needs to close on here. We'll get to some comments, and then we can go further on that. But CJ says, here's a question for you guys. If we switch to FSU with our Sooners in bracket, do you think they beat Stanford twice with Canada?
No.
That is
No.
interesting.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, if you do a comparison of the two, OU's bats are way better and were held, and it took just monumental situations and clutch hitting. And I don't know that FSU is that clutch. I don't think they would have against Kennedy. But also, Kennedy may have, been even so much better knowing it was the Sooner she's going against. But I don't think they get through that either.
Yeah, Fabric says, I like Jessica Mendoza and Aaron Miller commentating.
Aaron Miller,
says, and that's one thing we haven't hit on. Huge gift for
Dejon Terry,
the transfer from Tennessee, Dejon
Good
Terry.
Good point, Braden.
This is massive. Last year he weighed in at 6'4", 321. He previously was at Kansas. He has 2 years of eligibility, I believe. And this is a guy I think will start day one in Norman. He's got just a big body. Yes.
Wasn't he a four-star recruit? 4-star?
3.
For me, the thing
day one.
Hold on, Jeremy. The thing is,
I predict him and Isaiah Coe to start.
He had production at Tennessee, but it wasn't like I wouldn't expect him to come in and be an all-conference player, but I would expect him to be a good contributor.
Well, when you
who do you compare him to?
When you look at his stats,
give me a comparison.
When you look at his stats, maybe
Jordan
they're
Phillips,
not absolutely
Jordan
insane.
Phillips in the middle.
How about Gallimore?
Jackson mentioned
Is
his
he as big as Gallimore?
No, dude, he's 320. He's like Jordan Phillips.
He'll be like 330.
Hey,
maybe.
What about Lampkin? Do y'all remember Lampkin?
Oh my!
Devontae Lampkin, dude.
Yeah, and
he was a bust.
But his senior year, he played really good.
Devontae Lampkin. He's a lot more twitchy than Devontae.
Here's the thing with Dejon Terry. You look at his stats and they're okay, but it's not just about the stats. It's about having that big body up the middle that can eat 2 blockers, that can provide.
I agree.
And he's played SEC football.
Yes, and that's going to help. Like, look, our corners aren't going to have to try to defend for 8 seconds now. That'll help with that. And then they also landed Philip P. from Utah.
Stutzman and Kanik should be able to swallow up anyone.
His last name is Paya.
Paya, my fault. But that's another big body. They added 2 big bodies. He was originally at Michigan, I believe. Yeah, and then last year he was.
Do you think?
6'4", 305.
He tore his ACL at Utah State last year.
Hey,
yeah.
Do you think the fact that Sims was not in the mix that had nothing to do with these guys coming in, right?
No. There's a situation with a player on the team that could have something to do with that, Jacob Lacey. I don't think there's anything confirmed with that yet, but that's going to be something interesting.
Well, I mean, all I can say is just pray for the kid, man. It's unfortunate. It is.
But nonetheless, that definitely helps the defensive line. I mean, I feel a lot better at it or with it right now. Like looking at it, you got Coe, Terry, Laulu, Kelly, Halton, Gilliam, and then Philippia. So that's huge. And then Topher says, any concern about Wesco having multiple predictions to Clemson?
Yeah,
this weekend will tell a lot.
Huh?
His what?
Because whenever you silently commit to Clemson, you are not allowed to take any more visits. If he keeps on taking visits, then I don't see much with the crystal ball. But if he cancels his visits, then that says all you need to know.
Guys, I think there's always concern about these guys.
Hey, speaking on this question, I don't know. I'm not concerned much. I know there's multiple predictions to Clemson, but like when you look at them, a lot of them are predictions that I wouldn't put too much stock into. Now, do I feel as good about the Wesco situation as I did previously? No, but he's taking his official to TCU soon. LSU
Sammy Brown
soon.
today.
Tennis, huh?
Sammy Brown today, I saw.
Yeah, Sammy Brown did today. But with Wesco, if he's not at the Palace at the party late July, that's when I'd be concerned. And I know he announced his multiple visits, and OU wasn't one of them, but I think he only announced 5. And I'd imagine he'd take more than 5. So The Clemson thing is very interesting. They are hot on the recruiting trail right now, and Jackson mentioned they do have the thing like similar to OU where once you commit, like that's pretty much it. But I think Wesco is still up in the air. I wouldn't put too much into that. But Emmett Jones, even though Wesco is not in the best position right now with OU, he's in good position with many other wide receivers there. So yeah.
And speaking of the wide receivers, Ivan Carrion, is that his name, Brody?
Yeah.
The kid from Texas Tech. I don't really know where OU stands on that. I don't know if you've heard anything. I know it was an offer, but obviously OU is potentially going to take 4 wide receivers because Bryant Wesco is automatically a take, and it just depends on if they push for another guy.
Well,
there's Zion Reagans, who was formerly really hot on OU, and OU kind of cooled off on him after they got the 2 wide receivers commits. Now they're kind of back on that. And I don't really know if you've heard anything on Carrion and how much OU is going to push for that.
well, he's committed to Texas Tech, attends the camp this week, and I think I don't know if he had an offer. I think he might have got that offer this week. He got the offer this week, but things are like you're seeing the crystal balls coming in. But I don't know if he's going to be a wide receiver or I've seen tight end. I don't know how substantial that is, but 6'6", and that's a lot of height. But yeah,
Hey, having those guys in the middle is going to be refreshing because they really haven't had those dudes in the middle just shut down a short yardage situation and get penetration up the gut. So that'll be nice.
yeah, he's going to take an OV at Tech this weekend, and Tech still feels like he sticks with them. Yeah, maybe if he schedules an OV to OU, I think that's where things will get like
That's when it'll be interesting.
yeah, very interesting. But wide receiver, they're in a good spot there.
Yeah,
they've got multiple guys. Terry Bussey, that's a 4-star. Some sites list him as a 5-star.
That would be a dream scenario. Him and Brian.
What was that other comment on there, Brody?
Which one? This one right here or this one?
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah.
No, they'll stay in OKC. I don't
know.
No, they'll stay in OKC.
I would think they would just stay there and practice.
They can't use their facilities during while the tournament's still going on. So I don't see why they'd go home to Norman. But
yeah,
what a birthday night for T.R.A. Jennings, guys.
And Brody, also
you go watch our video from earlier. We tried to sing "Happy Birthday" to T.R.A.
Don't watch it.
Very ugly.
Don't watch
bro,
it.
Jason.
he said, "Don't watch it."
Jason sold it, guys. Don't worry. But speaking of Emmett Jones, man, Emmett Jones, another 2025 guy, crystal balled by a lot of people. Future cast. Is it Adrian Wilson? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Any relation to Travis Wilson?
I have no idea.
Do you know who Travis Wilson is? Hey, do you know who Travis Wilson is, Brody or Jackson?
I've heard the name.
Jay, what number did Travis Wilson wear at OU? Go ahead and answer it.
4. Number 4.
Yep. He was legit.
He was a big bodied guy.
On3 does have a flip prediction from for carry on to Tech from OU. So it is interesting with that one.
Yeah.
Check and see if Adrian Wilson is from.
I knew Biswell would know. 02 to 05. I knew Brian would get it.
I wonder if he's related. He may be, guys. It'd be
about
about the right age, maybe.
Maybe possibly.
Pflugerville, Texas.
Well, see if he's any kin to Travis Wilson.
Man, Travis Wilson was a good player. Underappreciated by far.
How do you know how oh well he's 6'2", 176.
I think Travis Wilson was about 6'4".
No, he was only 6'2" or so.
Maybe
he's about that same body. Speaking of receivers, guys, I know Brody is high on Petway.
Guys, this is what I wanted to talk about. This.
When are things going to start ramping up?
I wanted to talk about this, and I do plan on doing it.
I can't hear you. You're all talking at the same time.
I do plan on doing a video about Petaway, so if you haven't, click to subscribe. But yeah, I did my little prediction on the depth chart right now for what the depth chart looks like this upcoming season, and I did have Petaway as a wide receiver 3. That's just me. That's just my prediction right now. And Jeremy, I know you disagree with that.
I'm not disagreeing. I mean, I'm not disagreeing that the kid isn't going to be a great player. I think he is, but I don't see any chance he's a starter.
Okay.
Just based on the guys
Why?
they have there.
Jeremy,
The
why?
only way is if there's a lot of injuries.
Wait,
And
Jeremy, why? Who do they have? Who do they have on the roster that you're saying?
Okay, I'm getting ready to tell you. You interrupted, but
Yeah,
one,
okay,
when
go
I
ahead.
talk about injury, is Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson can
No.
be that guy if he's not injured. We haven't seen him.
Exactly. If
If
listen more, that's the only one you got.
no Gibson,
If
if what?
he can catch the ball,
Hey, we heard the same thing about Gibson that we heard about Petaway
what?
when he came into Norman. How good he was.
We haven't heard nothing about Petaway yet.
Yeah, no.
We've heard a whole lot about Petaway, how great he is.
Petaway has just stepped on campus the other day.
Yeah, and I've read a lot of people's comments saying he's going to be a stud. So
He is going to be a stud.
that's
Yeah.
my point. I mean, you just
This
never
year.
know.
If you're Jeremy, you
Name the last true freshman receiver to be a stud.
Marvin Mims.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee
Who
Petaway
else
Lamb.
played
reminds
that
me a
year,
lot
though?
of Marvin Mims.
I'm just saying, Brody. Drake Stoops,
Mario Williams.
Jalil Farouk. There's a lot of guys in front of him.
Drake Stoops and Jalil Farouk will be ahead of him.
Is this guy going to play slaughter outside? I mean,
outside?
Side.
To me, it's
I
about
think-
learning the offense, though. He's got to
I
learn the
think
offense.
Nick Anderson and DJ Graham are already ahead of him.
Do you want to know what? With
DJ
how
Graham.
fast he is, it's the same with Brennan Thompson. They both
Brennan
have,
Thompson's another guy.
They both have
Brennan
speed
Thompson will
that-
play that.
They both just have speed that you can't teach.
And Topher said
Hey.
Brennan Thompson in the
Hey.
comments too. Their
Hey.
speed will play. Yeah.
Hey, I think Petway will play. I mean, you look at a guy like Gavin Freeman, he played.
He'll
And
play a slot. Yeah.
I think he'll
Freeman
play.
was-
I don't think he'll start, but I do think he'll play.
Yeah, but my question is just who has proved that they're
There's
going to
not
start him?
many except for
No one has proven, but he
Dude,
hasn't
Exactly.
either,
So
Brody.
what is stopping Petaway from coming in? And you look at it this spring, the staff, Emmett Jones and them, they loved Andrew Anthony in this spring because of his ability to
another
be a
guy.
playmaker. His ability to be a playmaker. And then once you give them, so that tells me that guys with speed and all that, they're gonna
Hey,
love Petaway. when he
Let me
steps on.
just talk for a second on proven, because Nick Anderson, all during bowl preparation last year, we were told Nick Anderson is the second coming of the best receiver we've ever seen. Players on the team talked about how good this dude was. We've heard the same thing about ball catching skills and catching the ball at the peak and all, whatever your term is on there. DJ Graham. Now listen, Nick Anderson barely got in the field in the bowl game for whatever reason, but we thought he was going to be all over the place in the bowl game. He barely got out there. And part of the issue last year, it was Dylan Gabriel wasn't finding guys very often outside of one or two guys. Head was not on a swivel. That's going to make a difference.
Nick Anderson got more snaps than Jaden Gibson in the bowl game. That's all I'll say.
How many were thrown his way, Jackson?
He got
One.
one or two jet sweeps. One.
Nothing
If he
down
can
the
stay
field.
healthy.
Was the first game he was healthy all year too.
I
Hey,
don't
Brody,
think-
answer
I don't
this.
think Nick Anderson
Brody.
is a starter, Jeremy, but I do think the second you get in the goal line situations, he'll be all over the field.
Brody, who do you say is the most physical guy on campus at receiver position?
I'd say Farouk.
See, I'm saying Nick Anderson.
Farouk, but you haven't, what makes you say that? Are you
Every-
talking about, looks? If we're talking about looks?
if we want to say look at his size and look at what people say about him, he's the only guy that
Looking
fits
out
both
of Nick
of those.
Anderson is exactly how you describe him, like a Greek god. But you
He is.
watching.
I wish my
Petaway
body
run-
was like his. Get the guy on the field.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
Nick Anderson. I think he'll be a lot in the goal line. Brian says Gabriel ran for his life last year. He's not super accurate to begin with, so that just made it worse. That is very true. OU's going to need their O-line to be really good this year, and that's a position that there's uncertainties as well.
I don't know
That's
if I
a
would go-
concern for me.
I would not know if I would go as far to say Gabriel ran for his life, but that
He
there
did
was
have to run
two
around the line.
spots. There was two spots on the offensive line last year that killed.
Hey,
Line.
Rame is cemented in at center, correct? Yes,
You would say cemented in,
I would.
Josh
I
Banks.
would.
not Josh Bates.
Not Bates.
Who's going to
It'll
take
be
his
the
spot?
transfer?
It
Troy
could-
Everett.
Troy Everett would have a chance, but
The
Jeremy,
transfer.
I'd say if I
He's
was a
the only
betting
one.
man, I'd bet that Andrew Rame is the starting center at 11
So let's
a.m.
let's
against-
look at the offensive line right
Yes.
now, because to me, Brian
There's
brings
four-
up a great point. That's a concern, especially given the scrambling ability and being able to look downfield that Gabriel showed last year.
There's
He's
four
not a Josh
spots.
Heupel.
There's 4 spots that you feel very good about who's starting there.
Who are they?
Walter
Rame?
Rouse, Andrew Rame, Savion Byrd, and Tyler Guyton. The other one, I'd say, is between Matoyer,
Matoyer.
Jake Taylor, and then I think Caden Green really has a chance to start because Bill
I hope.
Bedenbaugh is going to do what he can to play his best 5. And if Caden Green, who got all the first-team reps this spring, given it was at tackle, but if Caden Green's one of his best 5, I have no reason to believe Bedenbaugh won't bump him into guard.
Hey,
Play
if
him.
Matowers
Matoyer.
is starting, then he either made a huge jump or we're in trouble. That's my opinion.
They were in trouble a while, but he's not the best yet.
Jake-
No,
Davion
Jake-
Bird is the
He
dude.
might have made a
He's
big
gotta be
jump.
the guy.
Caleb Schaefer is a guy to watch. He's massive, dude. He's like 315. He's a people mover. That's what Caleb
He is.
Schaefer is. But I just don't know about his technique and his athleticism and Jeff Lebby's own running scheme.
Is that the biggest concern on this team, guys?
To me,
What?
it is.
No,
Offensive
line.
line?
Actually,
no.
maybe the quarterback position, but O-line.
O-line and D-line are by far the 2 biggest
Interior
concerns.
defensive line is the biggest concern for me on this team.
I'd say it's both O-line and D-line. Interior defensive line, they fixed a lot this past week.
That's a problem because the trenches
But
is where
there's
the game
no,
won.
but there's no guy on the interior defensive line that's just going to go out and make a play. That's true.
Oh, here's a good one. Here's maybe the biggest concern, tight end. That is exactly right. We can't
That's
say
a good point.
not going to say too much, but Cade McIntyre probably will be the tight end 2 on this team. You want to talk about true freshmen coming in already that are going to have to
Can
make it.
Stogner stay healthy?
That's the question.
That's a great
Well,
I
question.
don't know if Stogner can stay healthy.
The tight end room already has a lot of concern with health anyway, because Caden Helms and Jason Llewellyn were both banged up at points last year. Blake Smith, he got hurt in the spring. Stogner, he's had
Helms and Llewellyn were banged up in the spring.
Yeah, there you go. Blake Smith was bringing it.
And there's just
So
not a
it's
lot
like
of experience.
You have
That's the
Stogner
problem.
and Josh Faniel were the only guys that were truly healthy all spring. That's not good.
And they shelved Stogner a lot because they didn't want him to get hurt. But I think Cade McIntyre will be the tight end too.
I agree with
Against
that.
Arkansas State. And that just because he's the tight end too, I don't think
Davis Bevel.
Hey,
Oh gosh.
Davis
He will
Bevel-
move to tight end if needed.
Hey, at least my man can pull somewhat off the field.
at least Davis Bevel's having success off the field.
Can we talk for a second about when we brought I heard Braden Willis in at quarterback against Texas and put Davis Bevel at receiver and he didn't even try to block?
The dude should have never played. Okay, the starting QB for that game was going to be General Booty, guys.
Did Davis
that
Bevel
was the
stick?
truth, but he had an allergic reaction. They were going to
Yeah,
start General.
Something might be different with Bevel this year. He might just go off in the fall.
Dude,
Why?
seriously, he might take.
Why, Brody?
He's been taking some W's off the field.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Well, we all know he's dating Alex Storako, and is that why he stayed? Probably. I mean,
That's probably why her game's diminished.
oh my, Jeremy on theories.
It's easier to bring people down than raise them up.
it didn't diminish. Her game hasn't diminished. She
I'm
had
just
one,
kidding, dude.
2
Hey,
bad. outings.
Davis Bevel, he's also pretty close with DG. You just look at their Instagram, you can tell that. But yeah, he's taking some W's off the field. Hopefully, he can take some on the field pretty soon. But
well,
I don't know.
Brody, how do you feel about OU's chances with Williams Nwaneri going into this weekend? If you had to give me a 1 through 10, what would you say? What
And percentage on Stone, too.
Percentage on Stone.
Okay. Stone and Nwaneri through 10? We all can go around and say.
Stone, 95. Nwaneri, I'd put that at like a 7 or a 6.5.
Like
With but this week can change it all. This weekend can change it all with his OV. That can flip it from a 7 to a 9.
And also, I'll go next. Williams Nwaneri, I got like a 75-80, honestly, because Tennessee, they already have, is it 2 edge commits already in their class?
It doesn't matter.
Yes, no, but
Hey.
honestly is going to be an
It
automatic.
doesn't matter. He's the number 1 edge in the class.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Stone,
Guys, I'm old school.
Stone is 95.
Jay and I are old school.
Go
No
ahead,
one's
that's
95. Hey, no one's 95%. This is recruiting flip flop, dude.
Hey,
Until they sign the paper, I
Jeremy.
just
Hey,
I don't
Jeremy,
comment on
Jeremy,
recruiting.
would you
I
say
don't comment on
that Kevin Sperry's 95% committed to OU?
once
Yeah, I mean,
someone's
you never-
committed to OU,
by the
they're
way,
committed.
did you see the throws that dude was making?
Oh, Kevin
He
Sperry.
should be a 5-star.
Quickest release I've ever
He
seen,
is-
bro.
There's some Jackson Arnold similarities.
Hey, guys, you notice anything? Jackson Arnold haircut, boys.
Hey,
I'm gonna shave my middle son got his Jackson Arnold. Come here, Saul. Let's show him your Jackson Arnold. I gotta get the stash going. It'll be Jackson Arnold. But yeah, we did the whole Jackson Arnold cuts at the Lusk house, boys. Traber didn't want to do it though. He had to keep the Davis Bevel do. So
Davis Bevel, dude, let's go.
he's hoping his game is as good as his off the field. So
His res.
yeah, his red.
His what?
Jay,
His
not-
red?
Res.
You're showing your
red,
age.
man.
You're showing your age.
Pushing 50. Hey, with Nwaneri, if the Oregon visit LV happens, I'm less confident than I am right now. Because Oregon, they got the bags of money. Phil Knight's not. He doesn't care.
Everybody's got money, Brody.
No one's got Oregon money. Nobody.
Everybody's got money.
Nobody has Oregon money.
Dude, OU needs to get that sponsorship with Amazon. Get Jeff Bezos on the line.
Here we go.
Deals.
Bevel plays QB this year. That means things went horribly wrong if Bevel plays QB this year.
Oh, for sure.
Should be a tight end. Although the way he ran in the pocket, like trying to escape the pocket, wouldn't make me too confident with him at tight
Have
end.
you ever watched a worse?
Dude, he has concrete feet. That's what
I kept saying. I remember watching Landry Jones and thinking he's going to trot back out there after throwing like 5 picks. Landry Jones is actually a freaking good quarterback.
Hey,
Davis Bevel, it's like surely he's not going to trot back out there next series. And there he
do
goes.
we want a Davis Bevel mixtape? Because I actually have one.
Did
No,
you
I
see
don't-
What,
I do not want a
Leonard
Davis Bevel
sent to our
mixed-
group chat.
Hey, I'm still mad that Jackson Arnold isn't wearing number 11.
That is dumb. Bevel should have gave it up.
Davis Bevel wouldn't give up his number.
That was dumb.
People has it. It's ridiculous, dude. Like, I don't understand why.
I'm excited for the whole Sawchuk and Barnes duo after what we saw in the Cheez-It Bowl, dude. I am super excited for those two dudes.
Of the running back room, Jason, I know I was maybe the first person to even bring this up about OU potentially being a thing with Taylor Tatum a while ago on a recruiting episode we did. And man, how Oklahoma has gotten back in that boat and turned the tables around. And Brody, you're the guy that can speak to it best. I'm not sure what he's doing. Looks like he's trying to get us the Davis Bevel mixtape up, maybe. But Taylor Tatum, man, OU Michigan battle, it sounds like right now. Jason, DeMarco Murray can recruit, dude. If he can get him in, basically right now it's OU football against LSU track for Caden Durham.
Like I said last time on the live, guys, when it gets to recruiting, I check out.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't get into it. I don't know enough about it. When people lead on people, it's just what it is, guys. I don't know who leads where, so I'm not the best one to ask about that.
You have to have a lot of patience to follow.
Yeah,
it can change in the matter of minutes. And we've seen that with David Hicks. 30 minutes, dude.
Do we want the Bevel mixtape? Because it's insane.
Yeah.
Let's see it, Brody. Let's see it.
I don't know if the viewers
Yes.
want to see that or not.
Let's see what you got.
All right, well, I got to get it onto the screen somehow.
Share your screen, man. Let's see what this is.
Yeah, give me a second. I got to get it
And
on.
then I know we need to talk a couple of recruits for basketball. I saw
Commit.
kind of out of the blue.
They got to commit.
Yeah, we can talk about that after I get this Bevel video up.
Davis
Wait.
Bevel, Heisman 2024.
Davis Bevel, Heisman.
If Davis Bevel won the Heisman in 2024, I would.
You would shave your head like you were going to do if OU didn't get Jaron Bradley?
No, I don't know what I would do, but that'd be.
If Davis Bevel wins Heisman, I will go bald. Like Mr. Clean It. Nothing.
Same,
He's not,
Same.
guys, he's not playing it down.
I agree.
You
I'd
said
hope
that.
not.
He's not playing.
Dude, I would pay for the Sooners to take a trip to Hawaii if Davis Bell won Heisman.
All right, I'm
He's
trying
not
to get
playing
this
it
up.
down this year.
Here we go.
Let's see this, Brody. We're waiting.
Hey, I'm trying, man. It's not compatible.
What Topher said, that's a great point that I had. DeMarco is very close with Taylor Tatum's family, as I've heard. He calls his
Can we talk about how awesome DeMarco Murray is?
oh my. Yes.
How about in the spring game when they did the punt thing and Jamarco didn't even take the headset off and he still caught it? That was sick.
Oh, he was Jay. If Jay would show his face on here. Jay and I used to get in arguments all the time. He thought I would hype up DeMarco Murray too much when he played here, but the dude was so freaking good.
I never said
Oh
that.
my.
Never said that.
DeMarco Murray, it didn't even look like he was running when he
Hey,
played,
If DeMarco Murray's not injured,
and he was
I think
flying.
if DeMarco Murray's not injured, I think OU wins the national championship against Florida.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. They would have won that year.
Sure.
They would have won. Jay's guy was Gerald Moore. Jay was a Gerald Moore fan, dude.
Gerald Moore,
Loved
Thunder and Lightning, man. Remember Thunder and
He
Lightning?
loved Gerald Moore.
He was
Number
good.
7. He was good.
Mm-hmm.
You got it, Brody?
Oh yeah, I'm about done with it.
Brian said it best. If he wasn't injured, we beat Florida. Florida had Tim Tebow, right?
Hey, and that ticked me off that whole year. I think they had Hernandez too that year. That ticked me off that whole game because all they talked about, they didn't even mention the fact that Murray wasn't playing, like that Murray was injured. It was killing me. Like that was a huge piece of OU's offense, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Who
Brian,
was the backup?
James Allen.
James Allen, Wynnewood, Oklahoma, number 25.
Wynnewood, Oklahoma, baby.
All right.
8-man football, dude. He's the guy that tied that when we beat Texas
Hey,
under
well,
John Blake.
there's another guy that plays at Wynnewood named Caden Knighton. That's a really good football player, too.
He played 8-man football, James Allen.
Yeah,
Do we want the mixtape?
Let's see
Yes.
it.
I guess.
Yeah, let's see it.
All you young pups.
This will be the best thing you've watched all day. Let's
If
get
we
a
ever
full
see it.
screen. All right, Davis Bevel. This
This is killing me because of how bad OU's losing in these games.
guys. This is only
You
this is
might
only the
be very
TCU
good.
game. There was too much Bevel. You know, he's going too far off. Like awesome throw right here by Bevel.
Nice scrambling ability, though. Gray's got to make that catch.
This
This one right here is absolutely awesome throw. Got to watch that one more time.
Dude, that was a dime.
Perfect.
That's
Right
on the
here.
receiver there,
miscommunication.
guys.
It's just miscommunication.
Okay, right here.
Look at that
Shows off
pocket
his
awareness.
scrambling ability. Another just awesome throw.
And I don't really want to bash kids too much, but hey, the telling sign was in the spring game. They let the defensive players hit Davis Bevel.
Yeah.
Did
There
you
he
notice
is.
that? They did. They let him hit him.
they should.
Jackson
Guys.
Arnold ran an 80-yarder and it got called back because some guy's pinky fingernail touched him. They were hammering Davis Bevel.
They were
Bevel
not.
had a good spring game.
They were. Jay,
Bevel put up some numbers in the spring game.
Spring
All right,
game.
let's get off the Bevel stuff.
Please
makes me sick.
talk about this commitment for
Basketball.
out
Jordan
of
Moore.
nowhere.
It was very
Georgia
very
Tech dude.
unexpected with Moore. The Georgia Tech transfer. It's a good get for Porter Moser, and they're not just done yet. But Moore has a lot of potential, and that's I think big. He's a 4, but he can defend 2, 3, and 4. He's a good rebounder, great rebounder actually. Not the best 3-point shooter, but his form it can improve, and it could be a decent shooter. But he shot 11% from downtown. But those numbers, I wouldn't really put too much into it. He's more of a
Well, to me, a thing that you said is that he has a good form, which is something that I think, which obviously shooting can be improved with just practice. So if
I
you,
just want to see guys get better under Porter Moser. I know I've bashed Moser some. Okay, at least this guy's from a Power 5 school,
what do you
unlike
mean?
some of the other transfers.
Javion McCollum, a top 10 transfer. That one.
Yeah, this year I'm saying, but last year we went mid-majors.
We
Football
did.
too. Football. Dylan Gabriel was a mid-major guy. Now we're getting a guy out of Tennessee. It makes a difference.
Hey, but more.
well, technically, Dylan Gabriel would be a Power 5 transfer now that UCF's in the Big 12.
Yeah, with more, he's a slashing wing.
Yeah.
Most of his points are around the rim.
Well, he better do it. Moser's got one more year, guys. Brody, do you agree with that?
If he fails this year, yes.
No, this is his last chance.
If they don't make the tournament, he's gone.
You have to get rid of him if he doesn't make the tournament.
Guys, what he's got going on, this team so far, looking at it right now, it's Milos Uzan, Otega Owe, Sam Godwin, Luke Norweather, Yaya Keita, Javion McCollum, John Hughley, Latrey Darthard, Rivaldo Soares, Jalen Moore, Caden Cooper, and Jacob Cole. What did they need to improve this past offseason? Shooting, athleticism. They did both of those things very much, and they are not done yet. They have another spot open, and how do I say this? He's actively trying to pick up a couple more or one more commitment, but I don't know that that's going to be.
Too bad we couldn't get Dickerson. That's who I wanted.
Jeremy, bro. Hey.
Just saying.
Yeah, Luke Norweather was the one I didn't mention on the roster. That one's another one.
Yeah, you said
I
him.
did. Oh, well then, okay. But
again, it's just a concern that Moses lost so many guys.
Yeah, also
what coach hasn't? Like that's my honest
I
question.
agree, but guys that were
and
solid.
none of them were from his teams, so I think that's.
And Jalen Hill left, I guess, for money, but
Jalen Hill left. Yeah,
go get in that Las Vegas market, baby.
But I also think he wanted to play for Kruger's son.
Well, I think that's part of it. I don't think he would have entered the portal.
He's from Las Vegas.
I know
he
he's
also is
from
Vegas, which plays.
He's going home. Did you see Jay Nolan transferred again?
Yeah.
Did he really?
He went from OU to St. Louis and now to North Texas.
Oh, he decommitted. He didn't.
Yeah, I guess he decommitted.
Well,
But he's from Texas too.
Who was even the North Texas coach now that Grant McCaslin left?
The St. Louis coach went to.
Hey,
North Texas.
I got a stat for you. I got a stat for you. ORU. They finished ahead of OU and OSU in basketball and baseball.
They run the state, dude. It's ORU State, man.
That's crazy, bro.
They don't
OSU's going to have a solid team too this year in basketball, but the Big 12 is going to be.
It's just going to be harder with Houston added.
Hey, whatever happened with Kelvin Sampson in Milwaukee? Is he going to?
No, they already hired a coach. Pay attention.
Okay, he just interviewed for it.
I was hoping he'd go there because I don't really want to face Kelvin Sampson, dude. I love the guy.
Dude,
yeah, you're going to face him and you're going to face Baylor guard LJ Cryer on that same team.
Jay.
Yeah.
Do you remember Nate Erdman?
Oh yeah, Nate Erdman could jump out of the gym.
Stud. What?
He could jump out of the gym.
Nate Erdman, dude, and the Minor Brothers. I got a name. Only old guys like us don't know this one. John Onches.
Yeah, he's a great point guard.
Hey, one of the things you can't deny about this team is that they added what is the most explosive guard and probably the best scoring guard since Trae Young this offseason, which is multiple people who pay attention to basketball, study basketball as much as anyone have said that. So very, very great addition for OU. And their backcourt is looking very good and may not be done adding to the backcourt yet, but that is certainly, yeah.
Can we talk about the travesty? The travesty of the NCAA. As Brian just said, I miss Kelvin Sampson as our coach too. It is ridiculous, the pettiness that he got all this stuff happened to him when Bill Self, 120 miles down the road, can do whatever the crap he wants.
Yeah.
What about OSU? OSU got
Yes,
banned.
Oklahoma State got punished for something that they shouldn't have even been punished for.
Kelvin Sampson was
4 years
texting her.
ago.
Dude, Kelvin Sampson would have still been the coach at OU. He would have still been here.
Hey, Rick Pitino's the same way.
Oh, Rick
He's
Pitino.
just gotten slapped on the wrist a few times. Jim
I
Boeheim.
just hate the good old boy network and
Jim
NCAA
Boeheim.
basketball. It's ridiculous.
The good old boy network.
Hey,
That's what it is.
one thing back on softball, real quick. I said this on our video earlier, but it's the dumbest rule. I think it's one of the dumbest rules in all of sports, and that is the fact that you're in the semifinals or whatever it is, and you have to lose twice to a team, and you're the visiting team the first game. That just absolutely blows my mind. Why are you giving the advantage to the team that's lower seeded? I mean, it should be OU should have been the home team the first game and the second game if they'd have played the second game. Why do you?
OU
why do
should
they
be
do
the home
that?
team the whole World Series.
Yeah, why do they do that? I don't understand it. It makes no sense. It's one of the dumbest rules I think I've ever seen.
Well,
That they-
I mean, I guess their point is it's a neutral tournament, like even in basketball. I mean, it's different because basketball you don't get last at bat.
It's not neutral. OU won that side of the bracket.
Right, but I'm saying in postseason in all sports, that's the way everything's treated as a neutral thing
guys,
outside of seeding. I hate it too. I think it's stupid.
let's just say this scenario happened. OU loses to Florida State somehow. What is the reaction going to be from the Oklahoma fan base?
Are you talking about lose the series or lose one game?
Losing the series to Florida State? If it somehow happens, I don't expect it to
That
happen.
chance is slim to none, Jackson.
I think it's slim to none too. But you know what would happen is Patty Gasso would talk about just how you got to be resilient, and she would turn it into somehow Patty Gasso would turn it into a learning moment for this team. I mean, for next year.
I don't think it's guys. I mean, all things are possible. I guess you could lose, but they're way too deep, way too good defensively, way too good at pitching. I don't see it happening.
I actually think they got over their biggest hurdle, and
I
that
do
was
too.
Kennedy.
Kennedy twice.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's the biggest
Kennedy
hurdle.
twice was their biggest hurdle, and I think if you ask them, I thought it was funny what Tiare said about the last at bat when she said she was going to swing no matter where she threw it. What does that tell you? That tells you that she's not easy to hit against. If you're just going to go up there swing wherever she throws it, you don't have time to think. And I just think that they would all say that they are so relieved to not have to go against someone like Kennedy again, and they're going to light Sandercock up.
Yeah, I don't see any. You're talking about a team that's won 51 in a row, and you're going to have a team beat them 2 out of 3. I just don't see it happening. I heard a stat today on the game I was watching. I think it was Florida State, Tennessee. OU hasn't lost 2 games, 2 out of 3, and I don't remember the exact number, but it's been forever.
I like your background, Jackson.
Yes, Jordy Ball, man.
Hey, how about this question? If OU wins the next 2 games or whatever, does Jordy Ball win MVP?
If she pitches both games, yes, she's the MVP.
I think she just needs to pitch one and win outstanding player. She's dominated the postseason. Dominated.
Especially if she shuts out Florida State again, dude. Could you imagine? I mean, this could be the greatest run from any pitcher maybe we've ever seen if she shuts out Florida State.
Hey, and if they do, listen, if they do go on to win, which I think they are twice, they're going to win both games. Think about this team compared to some of the greats. They've had to win. I mean, they've won every way imaginable this year. You can't say that they just, I mean, they dominated most of the season, but then when the pressure was on and the games are tight, they even found ways. It's
14 come up from behind wins. 14.
How many?
14 and 3 in the 7th inning, I believe. Yeah. Or the 9th inning, like today. Not come from behind it. They won it in the 9th, but
yeah.
It's just, guys, OU has that clutch gene. They have that championship DNA. They defend that standard.
Called Gasso.
Yes, exactly. It's what it is. Gasso is the culture at OU. It's just like a great example right now is in the NBA, that Miami Heat culture. It's just unexplainable. It's just great, man.
I'll give you a small example. Did you see Coach Rocha? Ja got to the mound today, and the announcers made a big deal about how she kind of got out there in a hurry.
And
OU does everything with a sense of urgency, okay? Everything.
Yep. Well, guys, I think that's all we have for tonight. If you haven't, check out Search Sports Network. Great articles. Hunter just got done covering the baseball team for the year. Traber, we'll have you covered for postseason softball and the national championship. I'm sure a lot of people will want to tune into that. And I'm sure I plan on doing an article over Jordy Ball, just a dominant postseason run she's had. And guys, I think that's all we have for tonight, boys. But Boomer.
Thanks for joining.
Boomer.